Ryan, how are you?
Rachel, I'm doing so good. Thank you for asking.
So to start, I anytime I talk to anyone who guests on Night Court, I ask this question just because I watched it like on Nick and Night and reruns all the stuff as a kid. But for you, what was your relationship like to Night Court prior to getting to be on it?
So when it was on air originally, I was not allowed to watch it. So my parents were huge fans of it, but we were kind of conservative, so they didn't let the kids watch it. But like you said, later in life, on night court, on Nick at Night and stuff, would totally flip that thing on and loved it. It's just, yeah, it's iconic. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, and it's very fun, at least for me, to see Dan Fielding kind of now because I love John Larroquette. And so for you, what was it like getting to come into that experience as like an actor and getting to play a part in a show like this, having that like history and knowing the show from when you were younger?
Yeah, so cool. I mean, like he's such a legend, and like he's done so much stuff. I mean, like Night Court, sure, I think he's won tons of awards for it too. But just to be around him and to see what a pro he is, and how he kind of phones it in a little bit in rehearsal, but then like day of, like he just like crushes it. I mean, I shouldn't say phones it in, but when it's time to go, he delivers every time, and he's so good. He's so on it, and so to just watch him and be like, yeah, man, like I want to do that when I'm his age. I mean, I'm not that far behind him, but like he's so cool. It was great. Yeah.
When how is it for you though coming in as a guest star versus, you've been in two of your shows, had revivals where like fans were like nostalgic and very excited that the shows were coming back. How is that in comparison for like this, where it is you're a guest star, but in that same kind of environment where people are very nostalgic for this property?
Yes, I mean, even walking into the set, like I think a lot of the sets are original
Mhm.
sets from the original show. So just walking is it's like it's like a time warp a little bit, and you're like, this is so crazy, this is so cool, this is the exact the office, all that stuff. Um, and then going in as a guest star, it can be tricky sometimes. I come in a little gung ho, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to party, and a lot of times everyone's in their own little world, and they're kind of like a clique, like this is our show. But this show was so rad, and they were so welcoming, and I think it's so smart of them. I mean, I don't know if they do it subconsciously or whatever, but because like if they make their guests feel comfortable, then everyone's going to do better. And so they did such a good job. Melissa was so cool and like made me feel so comfortable. And because I don't do a ton of multicam, so I was pretty nervous in front of a live audience, but they made me feel so comfortable and cool. And they're like, it's all good, like it's so fun. And once we did our first take in front of the live audience, I was like, okay, I can do this. I'm back, not back, but I'm ready. you know
Well, do you get to play around with, because I know like a lot of the people who come on this show are improvisers. And so it's interesting to me to like have multicam and wonder like, do you guys get to like play around and like improvise, or is it kind of like no, you have to say what we have, otherwise none of the kids are gonna know what we're doing?
Yeah, it's that's a good question. Like I think on multicam, as far as my experience, no one really improvises. I mean, you can kind of have your own take on how you do your lines, obviously, like that's your character and all that stuff. But yeah, because it's very setup joke, type of format. So if you kind of ruin that flow, then the jokes aren't really going to work, or you'll mess up a joke for another person, when it's not your turn to be funny. So zero improvisation from me. I don't know if other improvisers do it on multicams, but for me, I'm like, I'll do the script, and they'll throw out alts. Even in front of the live audience, they'll be like, okay, let's come back. That wasn't funny. Let's try this one. Or it was funny, but maybe we can top it, which is very fun. So, and you get feedback right away. If the audience doesn't
Doesn't
laugh,
like it.
then make it funny. Yeah. So that's cool.
Does Melissa kind of help you guys because like she is one of the creators and it is kind of like her brainchild? Does she help you guys when you get on set to like figure out how these characters would fit into kind of like the oddball comedy that does come around, like does come with Night Court?
I think especially behind the scenes, she definitely does that with everybody and casting and all that stuff. Once we're there, sure. I mean, it's mostly the director kind of like setting. This guy named Ren directed us in this episode, and he was incredible at like figuring out stuff. Also, letting Melissa and John kind of like, no, this wouldn't work. Let's try that. So they're definitely hands on, and she's such a little boss that she knows what she's doing, and she's been on multicam forever too. So yeah, she's definitely hands-on as far as like making everyone feel comfortable, or seeing if what works and what doesn't work and all that stuff. So thankfully, I think it worked.
It did. And I have like knowing like you're a fan of this show and you got on that set, which are, if I remember correctly, they're recreations based on like the blueprints from the original series.
Oh
And but was there anything that like you saw in there that was like calling back to that original series that really kind of like got you and you're like, oh my God, this is like just like Night Court, like I used to watch when I was younger?
yeah, totally. It's I think The Office, is The Office like the exact same? I think it
It's
might be like,
Harry's. Yeah, it's Harry's office. They just
yeah,
recreated Harry's office.
that's so cool. And like just the courtroom is so iconic. I mean, I know a courtroom's a courtroom, but it's like the night courtroom, which is so rad. So yeah, it's definitely surreal to walk onto that set. Um, from a show that I've been watching not as a kid, but as a younger adult.
When it's yeah, I do think the show is so fascinating to me just because it's like I think a lot of younger people, like I used to watch it with my dad, and I think a lot of people watched it with their parents at one point or another, and so it is very heartwarming for me that it is still based on like her being Harry's daughter and out like while he's gone, it's still like trying to figure out how to fit all those characters in for you when you are, like I said, you're coming in as a guest star, you're filling this role that is for the most part you're going to be there for a few days, you're filming and that's it. Was there like a callback or something within your own episode that you were like, damn, I didn't realize they were going to also include that in this one? Because they do that a lot on this version of the show. And I think that's really fun.
Okay, not to be a bummer, but I don't know. Not that I clocked. So take that out of your interview. I don't know. Was there? Maybe you would know better than I would. Is there something?
I
I
don't
don't.
I don't think so unless I missed like a subtle one, but I was wondering if there was something like on the that like
Yeah,
we may have missed.
yeah. I don't know. I don't think so, but
That's
I
all
wish
right.
their answer.
That's okay. But for my last question, I do want this is my request for a soundbite because you know that I am a big old Party Down fan because that's
Yeah,
all
baby.
we talked about when we met. So I want you to help all of us get Party Down season 4 by
Yeah,
just
come.
what you would hope would happen if we got Party Down season 4.
Okay, so if we get Party Down season 4, Lizzie Kaplan 1,000% will be back. And that's the most exciting thing to me ever because I love her so much and she's so brilliant. And her and Adam together are, I'm going to say, iconic. And so that's what I can promise you if we get a season 4.
Great. And that's enough for I think all of
Yeah,
the little fangirls that we can all just be really loud about it. Um,
totally. Come
and
on.
get Party Down season 4. But
Yes.
thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it.
It feels
And
good that we don't have a beverage in our hand, but that's fine.
we should have planned this better. We should have planned this a lot better.